Good afternoon, Trinidad and Tobago, and welcome to another installment of Take a Stand special series, a tribute to electricity workers. And this is being done in recognition of the 50th anniversary of T&TEC workers joining the Oilfield Workers Trade Union. And today in this installment, we have with us Comrade Reesa Ramlogan Joda, the very first female vice president responsible for T&TEC. Now, we did have a first female vice president, that would have been Comrade Sati Gajada Ines, and we will be interviewing her in a later installment. For these series, of course, I am your host, Comrade Ozzi Warwick, and it's really been quite an enlightening series so far. We would have had Comrade Peter Burke, who is our current vice president. We would have had other former executive officers and as well as labor relations officers who were part of some critical struggles during the last 50 years. We would have had Comrade Alva Allen as well as Harrison Thompson. Today, we have with us Comrade Reesa Ramlogan Joda. And so I'm gonna welcome to this Take a Stand special series, Comrade Joda. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Comrade Ozzy. Thanks very much for having me. It's a pleasure being here.
Okay, great. Can you just say a little bit about yourself? Yeah.
Sure, but before I do so, let me take this opportunity to extend New Year greetings to my comrades at the Trinidad and Tobago Electricity Commission, to my comrades at the other units, the general public, and to our listening audience. I wish you all a very happy, safe, productive, and blessed New Year. We are among the fortunate ones to have made it through 2020 into 2021. And indeed, we are blessed to be here. So once again, Comrade, thanks a lot for having me.
Yes.
As Comrade Ozzy would have said, for those who may have missed it, I am Reesa Ramlogan Joda, Executive Vice President at the Oilfield Workers Trade Union. I am currently employed at the Trinidad and Tobago Electricity Commission. I have been with the Commission since 2008, July of 2008. At present, I am assigned to the Public Lighting Department of the Commission.
Okay, great. Can you say, when did you join the Oilfield Workers Trade Union?
Sure. Well, now there's always history to everything, right? Now, as a child growing up, I would recall that I always had a liking for, being a lawyer. It was always a dream of mine to become a lawyer. I came from a family where I had an elder sibling, and fortunately, he was given the privilege to attend university, and I was happy that I could have, coming out of school, I began working and I assisted in sending my brother to university, right? So I would always find myself in positions where I would have to put forward a case for somebody. Mm-hmm. My mother, my father would always say, "You always arguing for somebody." And then it went on into my working career. At this stage, I wasn't a part of a union. Where I worked, we were not organized. There was no RMU. There were no members in the department where I was, but still it continued. One day I could recall my administrative officer saying, I just finished a meeting with her with another worker. And she said to me, Monica Jaikaran is her name. She said, I can see you reach and find the union. And I said, no, not me. And not because I had any reservations or any ill feeling towards a union, but at that time I wasn't aware, I wasn't conscious. And as time went along, the workers transitioned from where we were to where we are today. And I'm proud to say that I played a critical role in the transformation of the department and the workers in the department.
To become unionized.
That is correct. To become unionized, because we were not, right? We operated in an environment that was close to that of, it resembled slavery, right? The mentality was different to what you would find in the rest of the T&TEC areas. But thankfully, back in 2000 and probably 2003, yeah, it could be around 2003, we were given the opportunity and we accepted. We became members of the Oilfield Workers Trade Union, and I'm proud to say that we are members of the Oilfield Workers Trade Union. And it was shortly thereafter in 2017, actually, I was involved in one of my first struggles as a member of the branch. I was involved in one of my first struggles. It was a struggle that would have affected the operations in the entire commission. I'm proud to say that we stood grounds and we won. We were successful at the industrial court. And, you know, it was a landmark victory. And while it would have been difficult.
Yeah, can you just say a little bit more about it? Because I think it's important for people to really appreciate the importance of struggle and why workers struggle, because sometimes there are other workers in other environments that are not unionized, and I'm sure that they would love to struggle, and hearing the experience of persons who would have engaged in a very important struggle that would have had certain consequences. In this instance, it would have been a victory. I think they would like to hear a little bit more about it.
Wonderful, not a problem. So for quite some time, the commission has been trying to implement what we call driver craftsman. And as I stated earlier, the workers at the public lighting department came from a culture where they were used to doing what they were told. And eventually, when we became unionized, the department, we started to take certain stance because we were now part of the union. We understood the importance of the collective agreement. We understood the importance of holding fast to what the terms and conditions of our employment. And at one point in time in 2017, the management attempted to utilize the workers at the public lighting department to infiltrate and to carry out their agenda, right? And the workers, the crew supervisors in particular, they decided that here's what, we have a collective agreement and we are going to operate in accordance with our collective agreement. And they took the stand that we were not going to continue with this driving while supervising, right? Now, first of all, we need to understand that because something is happening, because something has happened, it doesn't always mean that it has to continue and it makes it right. At some point in time, somebody has to say, here's what, this is enough, and it requires somebody to make a stand, and that is exactly what happened. It took one person, that is correct, we took a stand. It took one person to make the stand, and thankfully he was supported by the other comrades, and we struggled, and I take this opportunity to say that the harder the struggle is the sweeter the victory. Yeah, nothing comes easily, and it was a difficult time. The workers were threatened with suspensions and even with dismissals, but thankfully with the intervention of the union, and IRO was brought before the industrial court, and as I stated earlier, the union was successful. And today, because of that success, we can enjoy what we have in our collective agreement, and the commission's agenda, it was cut short. Yeah.
I think it's important to point out, of course, that the management agenda is never in the interest of the workers or even the citizens. They have sometimes all sorts of political agenda, personal agenda, and then they try to impose that agenda on workers. And if workers are not strong enough or united enough, then they may be able to get through. But from this experience, the workers were able to show that there is strength in unity and will. And I think what is interesting about your story is that this is a recent victory. And, you know, for those of you in the series, from the other comrades like Alva Allen and Harrison talked about those struggles of the 60s, 70s, well, the 70s, the 80s, and so on coming forward. And we see that this tradition this tradition of taking a stand and fighting for the interest of workers continues up to today. And I think that that augurs well in terms of the workers at T&TEC.
That is correct. Yes.
Can you state, in addition to that particular struggle, and congratulations, of course, in winning that important victory, what other struggles you would say are a highlight for you in your experience since joining the OWTU?
Well, actually, coming out of that, the workers who were involved in that struggle started to face what we all know as victimization. Yeah, there was one incident in particular where we had a storm just a couple of years back, and we had a worker who was dismissed because he would have worked through the storm. There were certain parts of the country that was out of a supply. They worked tirelessly to ensure that a supply was returned to the citizens, to the members of the public, and arising out of a situation which could have been addressed through just a discussion with a supervisor, the management decided to take an approach that was very harsh and oppressive, and the worker was dismissed. Now, we held together, we stood our grounds, we came out on a morning, early morning. Sometimes I will leave my children at home. I'm a proud mother of 4 children. I would leave my children at home to come out to meet with the other comrades, say, here's what, we need to lend our support. We came out, we had demonstrations in the morning, we had demonstrations during the lunch hour, and eventually, thankfully, I'm glad to say again that the comrade was eventually reinstated. We are happy that that matter did not have to reach the industrial court, but the management did the right thing at the level of the stage 4, and the worker was reinstated. So this is just another example of, you know, comrades have to band together. Once we hold together, we can overcome any obstacle that may come our way, but we have to stand together. And that is something that the camaraderie that you will see among the T&TEC officers, it is commendable. Not only the officers, but the workers on a whole, it is very commendable. And because of that bond and that unity, that's one of the reasons why we were able to overcome so much to be where we are today.
Yes, and it's in recognition of that that we have these special series to pay tribute to those workers and the human service that they provide to Trinidad and Tobago. I want the audience to always remember that these are the workers that ensure that you have electricity. So which brings me to this question around what do you see as some of the contemporary issues that the T&TEC workers are facing now?
Well, Comrade Ozzi, one of the biggest issues that we face at this moment is what is called a manpower audit. The commission sometime back in 2017, they had a senior officer of the commission report to the court that a manpower audit was completed. However, that was in 2017. 3 years later, in December of 2020, we, the union, were finally invited to attend a meeting to have discussions surrounding this manpower audit. Now, despite the fact that the commission indicated that it was completed in 2020, the union has been asking since, in 2017, the union has been asking since then for a copy of the manpower audit so that we can sit and have the necessary discussions to find the best way forward for both the commission and the workers of the commission. Mm-hmm. It is very unfortunate, though, that at the meeting of December 8, 2020, some 3 years after the fact, to date, the union has not received a copy of the manpower audit. The commission is saying that they are overstaffed. It is something that we are hearing worldwide by a lot of companies. They say that there's need to cut staff. And the thing is, the union is here and we are willing to work with you, but we can't work with you if you're not operating in good faith. And that is an issue that we have, and it's the biggest issue that is facing us right now. Yeah? How can we address the issue if we are not aware?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, if we are not aware, we cannot sit and have meaningful discussions. Yeah, and what makes it even worse, Comrade Ozzi, is that we are in a pandemic, right? We are still in the period of the pandemic. Earlier in March of last year, when there was a complete shutdown of the country, and not only Trinidad, but it was happening internationally, worldwide, because of the pandemic. The workers of the commission, they worked tirelessly. They went way above and beyond the call of duty to ensure that members of the public, our citizens of Trinidad and Tobago, had a constant, efficient, and reliable supply of electricity. Yeah. And I would like to just pause for a moment to extend my gratitude to our members, to say that we are grateful for all that you have done, despite all of the challenges. While we had people at home, public transportation being cut in half and all these sort of things, our comrades continued to work, and they worked well to ensure that there was a reliable supply to the public. We understood how critical it was to have these quarantine centers operational, and the union took the initiative and wrote to have a meeting with the management. And that in itself was a challenge, to have a meeting with them to come up with a temporary work arrangement for the period of the pandemic. But eventually we did meet, we had the necessary discussions, and we were able to put things in place. Although the management did not hold fast to the temporary work arrangements, and that is now being dealt with in another place, we were able to accomplish our goal. And our members found great satisfaction in ensuring that they were able to serve the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago during the pandemic period.
And, you know, I'm really happy that you highlighted this particular point, because I recall so well that there was this day of applause for essential workers. It was supposed to be a recognition. It was a Thursday. I can't forget it, you know. A recognition of all these workers who were out there whilst those of us were at home.
That's correct.
And ensuring, to me, this is one of the most important things, making sure that you had electricity, because most of us were at home.
That's
making
correct.
sure that you had electricity, not just in your homes, but in certain businesses, in the hospitals. I mean, in all of the critical areas, in industry, etc. There was a reliable supply of electricity during that whole period.
And I'm proud to say that that is the case.
Yes. And now it is as though the reward for that service to country, for all of us, is that you're going to be sent home if the commission has its way. And I think these are things that we as a country need to do some serious introspection about. How do we treat our citizens, our own people? Because here you had a group of workers who went beyond the call to ensure that the rest of us are comfortable and the rest of us can get our daily lives taken care of. And the reward to these workers is this now anxiety, uncertainty as to their future. I think that is, you know, a real, to me, that's a condemnation on the commission, if that's the way they want to go. That's an indictment on them. And to say quite frankly, it's an indictment on all of us. If we allow politicians and allow management who are following the agenda of politicians to disrupt the lives of our fellow citizens for no other reason than expediency. So I'm really glad that you highlighted that particular point. Any other issue that you'll want to raise before we begin to wrap up this interview?
Well, I think I should bring to the attention of the public and those who are listening, the issue of accountability. There is a serious issue, a serious concern when it comes to persons not being held accountable. We have seen what has happened in the past because of the same situation, and we cannot sit by and allow it to continue to happen, because history is just going to repeat itself. Yeah. The commission some time ago, probably in about 2018, purchased a fleet of vehicles, and only to find out, and it was very unfortunate, that the vehicle was not fit for use. So some modifications were done. The union identified quite a number of issues, safety concerns associated with what existed before the modification and even after the modification. To date, the union has not been in receipt of a copy of the report that was promised to the union coming out of the modifications. The vehicles were sent back into commission, they were in use, and it is very unfortunate that sometime after, we're speaking about 2020 here now, the latter part of 2020, the fears of the union eventually became a reality when you had issues of chassis being broken. Trucks started to show signs of metal fatigue because why? The appropriate vehicles were not purchased. We decided, here's what, we're going to solve that problem by doing modifications. And despite all of the concerns that were raised by the union, this came and it happened. The vehicles had to come out of service and they had to go and do further modifications. Now the question is, who is being held accountable? Is it the workers? The workers are not responsible for purchasing of these vehicles. No, we are not. But at the end of the day, the workers are the one who feels the brunt of the mismanagement. And these are things that cannot continue to happen. This is a state-owned company. Yes, somebody has to be held accountable.
Well, I was going to ask you one question, really. The manager that made this decision, I'm assuming he was or she was fired? Hello, Comrade Reesa?
Sorry, I just lost you there. What's that? Repeat the question?
Yes.
Yes, I'm hearing you now.
Sure.
Repeat the question.
Of course. Was the manager who made that decision fired or suspended pending investigation?
No, it's very unfortunate, but that did not happen.
So, you know,
Instead,
that's what I'm saying. Go ahead. Go ahead.
It's a situation that is trying to be, we're trying to sweep it under the carpet. And trying to sweep it under the carpet is the more we have to pay. The more money has to be put out to cover what could have been avoided in the first place if the correct vehicles were purchased. And now these are trucks that are seen on the roadways of Trinidad and Tobago. These are trucks that are now being used as glorified ladders because we have the management making one excuse after the next as to what are causing the problems. But the root cause of the problem is the fact that the incorrect vehicles were purchased.
Yeah. So you see, and this is the real upside down dynamic we have, because if it was a worker who would have been involved in one way or the other, they're quick to suspend pending investigation or dismiss outright. Here you have management taking decisions that costing the commission a lot of money and no one is held to account. We as members of the public, rather than support any call for privatizing, should be really calling for socializing. And what do I mean by socializing and not privatizing? It means that we as the public, when these issues are raised, especially by the union, is to also weigh in on the issue and call for accountability by
That's
the
correct.
boards and management of these companies. Socialize, not privatize. So I want to, as we begin to wrap up, this really interesting interview, you are the first female vice president responsible for T&TEC. That is quite an achievement. How do you feel about that?
Well, comrade, to be quite honest, at first, I told myself that I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready because I had so many additional responsibilities. I am a wife, I am a mother, I am a worker, I'm a student. This is something that I thought about putting on the back burner, but then I thought about it. I said to myself, Reesa, from among almost 3,000 people, there has to be a reason why. There has to be a reason why. And I mean, I'm a Christian woman, and I know that nothing happens without a reason. God has a plan, God has a purpose. Yeah. And today, I am proud to say that I am glad that I accepted the responsibility. It's not something that is easy. Now, as executive officers, our hours of work are one term to the next, or 7 to 3. We work around the clock. And it is tedious, but I'm thankful to say that I have the support of my husband. I have the support of my family. And most of all, I have the support of my comrades. And that is what makes it easier. I have officers that stand by me, they support me. I can go to my officers, I can get advice, and even with the workers, you know, relationships were built over the years. And I'm proud and I'm also humbled. I'm humbled because most people don't understand, but being able to serve is a gifting. And I'm happy that I am able to serve in this capacity. Although I did not fulfill my dream of becoming a lawyer, I must say that this in itself is satisfying. This is satisfaction for me, because to be able to have a personal one-on-one with workers and see their matters through from the shop floor to the court, and then at the end have justice served, that in itself is sufficient for me. And I am really humbled, I am grateful, and I am thankful to Almighty God for the opportunity. And in as much as it is challenging, it is also rewarding. It is fulfilling, and it's an opportunity that I am grateful for.
And I think you also, represent what I would consider to be a group of very hardworking female officers in T&TEC, very powerful women, who I have seen at the level of branches
That's
really
correct.
strongly representing T&TEC workers. Okay.
Yes,
All right.
Comrade
So,
Ozzi, I am proud to say that we have quite a number of strong women in the commission. We have Comrade Allison Oliver, we have Ulla Shields, Comrade Nataki Antwine, Comrade Laurie Richardson, Colette Daly, Julianne McDougall, and those are just some of the strong female workers. And it makes me feel proud as a female executive officer to know that we have a number of strong, independent women who are not afraid to take a stand for what is right. So along with our male officers, who are usually the dominant ones, we have a number of female officers. And as I said, we continue to work together and we have a good relationship. And it's not only for T&TEC. We are here to serve the working class of Trinidad and Tobago. I am here and I intend to do so to the best of my ability.
I really want to thank you for recognizing those officers and, of course, for reminding Trinidad and Tobago that it is not only the T&TEC workers as a group, but working class as a collective class in the Trinidad and Tobago. Y'all are really true patriots, really, strong and fervent believers in country, in the development of Trinidad and Tobago. And I want to express on behalf of the rest of us extreme gratitude to the hard work that you all put in as officers of the Oilfield Workers Trade Union, representing T&TEC workers, and as you indicated, representing the working class of Trinidad and Tobago. I really want to, commend the work that you all have put in and to hear of the victories that you have had. And I look forward to hearing more stories of more victories to come. Is there any last thing you would like to say to Trinidad and Tobago before we close off this very, very interesting and fascinating interview?
Yes, definitely. What I would like to say is that, the battle is on. But the thing about it is that it's not like it's the first time we're having these battles. We have come through so much to get to where we are today. And we just have to keep pushing forward. take a stand for what is right. Once you know what is right, you hold fast to what is right. Trinidad and Tobago, to the working class people, I know that the struggle is there, but we have to just keep holding on. You know, once we do that, and once we become conscious and aware of where we are and where we want to be, we will know what we have to do to get there. So to all of you, just a few words of encouragement, keep holding on. As I said, we are fortunate to be here, and let us make the best of the opportunity that was given to us.
Well, thank you, Comrade Reesa Ramlogan Joda, for the time that you've spent with us on this special edition of Take a Stand. And of course, I am very pleased to hear you, as part of your message, to hear you say to Trinidad and Tobago that it is about taking a stand for what is right. At the Oilfield Workers Trade Union, that has been our mantra since 1937. And when T&TEC workers joined the union in 69-70, you were part of that tradition and continue to be part of that tradition all the way up to today. So again, hats off to the T&TEC workers, the electricity workers. Yes. Continue to do the amazing work that you do to ensure that that there's power in Trinidad and Tobago. I think that that places you in a very special place, and a special place not in the heart of the country itself, in the soul of the country itself. So continue that great work, and we will continue with our series in other installments. But thank you, Comrade Reesa Ramlogan Joda, and let me just say that I am proud to serve with you as an executive comrade of the Oilfield Workers Trade Union. Thank you, Trinidad and Tobago, and have a safe 2021.
Take care.